Hey book friends, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to my final book haul of 2024. Now, I honestly shouldn't have waited so long to film this because I have like 35 plus books here to share with you, and they're from a variety of different places. I mean, Christmas, definitely. Gift exchanges on Patreon, book of the month, Pango books, library sales, you name it. I've been picking up books and I'm really excited for all of them. So I'm not going to be here saying that like, I can't believe I bought so many books. I'm totally fine with all of these books that I have acquired. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to put them, but irregardless, let's hop in to my final book haul of 2024. So hi, my name is Angie. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back, all the things. So I think we better just hop in because I have a lot of books to talk about. And only two of them have I read. Games Untold by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the short story collection of a lot of different little stories of different people within the inheritance games world. It's fantastic. It's so much fun, especially if you love some of these characters like Xander and Nash and some more Avery and Jameson. Team Jameson over here, but I read that one and I loved it. And I also read this one. I picked this up when I was with my husband on vacation and we went to a bookstore and I'm like, of course I'm going to get a book. And I picked up this book. I've been curious about this book and I feel like people are very polarizing, but I fall in the I love it category. It was so funny. I thought it was really perfect for this time of year, and that's Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole. I'm not sure how to say her last name. I'll look that up before I talk about this again, but I picked that one up. Everything else I haven't read, so in no particular order, I picked up Foxglove. I think this is a really pretty copy. This is by Adeline Grace. It's the second book following Belladonna. Belladonna was one of my favorite books of the year. I just put up that video. So good. And I'm excited to move on into this series, which follows our main character of Signa and Death personified. I don't know where this is going to go, but I'm so excited to continue on in that story. Okay, I also picked this one up. So I picked up two books when we were on vacation. I was just in a YA mood. And so this book, I feel like has constantly been recommended to me. This whole series. It's a YA fantasy series called Defy the Night by Bridget Hemmerer. I'm actually not sure how to say that name either. Apologies. But this one sounds really good. I believe this is the one that is about a girl who is an apprentice apothecary person. And she has to like sneak out of her small town and try and find this moonflower elixir to help some of the people who are suffering in her village, I believe. But somehow she crosses paths with the prince and he seems to be in charge of like law and order or something like that. And she's clearly breaking the law. So I don't know. I've heard really good things. So I'm excited for that one. Oh, I did pick this one up. All right, I actually have read this book, but I picked it up from Pango Books because I loved it. This surprised me. I read this in a reading vlog where I took the last 5-star of some of my favorite booktubers, and this was a book from Faith Reads Things. I'll link her down below. She's fantastic. It's Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. It is a YA romance book. I loved it. I thought it was so much fun. It was about kind of next door neighbors who hate each other, fall in love sort of idea. It's really cute. I also got this book from my sister, and so this is Immortal Dark by Tigist Gurma. This has been very popular this year. Now, it's had mixed reviews, but initially I was very intrigued by this idea. I think it has kind of a dark academia meets vampire sort of situation. Yeah, a lost heiress, a soulless vampire, a secret drenched in blood. So I'm going to try and read it and form my own opinion on this one. Another book that I picked up recently, and it made it onto my reading challenge as one of our buddy reads for 2025, is The 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Harrow. I really enjoy this author's writing style. She writes very atmospheric, gothic type books. I read Once and Future Witches and really enjoyed it. This one sounds like it's about our main character of January who stumbles upon a library that has books, I think, that allow her into other worlds. Now, I'm not quite sure, and I didn't want to read too much about it. I really want to just experience this book. I think it'll be very interesting, and I'm looking forward to reading it with other people. So I will link my reading challenge down below. If you did not know, I run a year-long reading challenge. It's over on Discord. Anybody can join. And then I picked up this from the library book sale, Just Another Missing Person by Jillian McAllister. Now, I've been wanting to try out her books, specifically Wrong Place, Wrong Time, but this was what was at the library sale. So I picked this up, and I'm actually have no idea what it's about. I just really want to experiment with new thriller authors this upcoming year, and so she's on my list. All right, this is another book that my sister gifted me. It's a Illuma crate. It's called Some Desperate Glory by Emily Tesh. Now, after reading The Devoured Worlds by Megan E. O'Keefe, I've been more curious about sci-fi, and so she gave me this book, and it is a sci-fi book. And I was just like, okay, I'm going to try more sci-fi. And it says, while we live, the enemy shall fear us. We are what's left. We are what must survive. So it sounds like there's been a destruction of Earth, and they're trying to avenge what happened. But it's just a really pretty book. I also picked up this book from Book of the Month. So The Road of Bones by Demi Winters. I really have enjoyed Viking books, but I saw this one and it just sounded really interesting, where it is entitled An Epic and Immersive Viking-Inspired Romantic Fantasy. A woman fleeing a ruthless assassin accidentally joins forces with a group of mercenaries. I don't know, it could be too much traveling. I'm not sure. I've heard good things and I've heard not good things, so we'll see what I end up thinking of that book. Another book that's part of the challenge for next year is Where the Library Hides by Isabel Ibanez. Now this is the second book, and I'm not quite sure what the series is called, but the first one is What the River Knows, and I really enjoyed that. And we're reading this together in January. Actually, this is our January buddy read. And the story is YA. It's historical fantasy about this girl whose parents are archaeologists, and they go missing or they're presumed dead, and so she travels to Egypt to try and figure out what's going on, and she gets ensnared into some stuff going on there, which is just really fun. Okay, I also picked up the latest Leanne Moriarty, Here One Moment, for a couple reasons. I enjoy her writing. I feel like she's very literary, mystery thriller sort of vibe, so I like that. I also like time bendy travel sort of books. It's not time travel. I think this is the one where there was a lady on the plane who could predict when everybody was going to die or something to that notion. I didn't want to read too much more because I just wanted to get into it. It is a chunker though. I didn't realize that when I picked it up. All right. My sister also gave me the Amari books. I've read this one, Amari and the Greatest Game. I got it from the library, but this is the third book, Amari and the Despicable Wonders. Now, I really enjoy Amari. Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston was the first one. I think they're really fun, approachable books about our main character of Amari, who doesn't know that she's kind of gifted until she's trying to find her brother, and she ends up at the Bureau of Magical Affairs or something like that. I can't quite remember, but I really enjoyed watching her story so far, and I'm gonna pick this up, but I also really wanted these books for my kids. I think they would really enjoy them. All right. I also got Powerless by Lauren Roberts. Yep, I have not read this book yet. I know it's been super popular over the last couple years. I think I was hesitant to pick it up because it is associated or compared to Hunger Games, and I have just been doing a whole reread of Hunger Games during 2024, and so I just wasn't sure if I wanted to hop into this so soon after reading that, because I think it would have ruined the fun of this, because I believe this is more fantasy romance with Hunger Games elements. Okay, another book that I've recently picked up is also not a new book, but sounds really fun to me. And it's called These Broken Stars by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. From what I understand, it's a YA science fiction book with some romance, and I think it just sounds really fun. Sometimes I just really need this pace of a book, and I like the way this was explained. It had something to do with like these kids that are on a space liner, and then I think it crashes. I don't really know. I just think that sounds really good. So I only got the first one to see if I like it before I get the rest of them. Another book I only got the first of was a book that I talked about in my video where I was talking about my TBR for fantasy romance. And Stephanie Garber always comes up. Once Upon a Broken Heart is the first book in this series, but I have been advised by a number of you that I should start with a Caravel series first, which I will, because I am a completionist. I really do like Easter eggs in books. I don't want to miss something. I don't want to like read this and have missed all the different tie-ins to the original trilogy. So I'm just going to read that one first, but I feel like this one is a little bit more interesting to me. It's about our main character of Evangeline and the Prince of Hearts named Jack, and I think he like helps her and betrays her or something like that, but I think he's the main love interest, if you will. So I picked up that book. And all right, a couple other books I picked up from the library book sale. This one, The Undertakers by Nicole Glover or Glover. Now this is a historical fantasy book. I think it has to do with like the Underground Railroad. So it says murder and magic novel. So this is book 2. And so I knew I had the first one on my shelves, and then this was like $1. So I picked it up, and I don't want to really read the back since it's a second book, but I did pick up that one. And I feel like it's also YA. So sometimes when I'm picking up books, I'm thinking a little ahead that my kids might like that. All right. Another one I got from the library was These Burning Stars by Bethany Jacobs. Another sci-fi. I've seen this cover, so I knew she was a kind of a more well-known author, and so I thought it'd be good to check out some of her stuff. And this is book 1 in the Kingdom trilogy that has to do with a thief. A thief who has gotten her hands on something she shouldn't, and some people who are going to kind of track her across the galaxy to get that thing back, I think. Or at least that's what the first few lines make it sound like. I also picked up this one because I've heard good things about this series. It's like a series that involves color magic. So this is The Black Prism by Brent Weeks. It's the first book. It's also a lot bigger than I was expecting. I'm curious, and I feel like when I can get stuck into a new series, I will just read them all. So I have a lot of first books in series. And this says, Guile is the prism, the most powerful man in the world. He's the high priest and emperor, a man whose power, wit, and charm are all that preserve a tenuous peace. I also picked up Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. Like I already said, I really enjoyed her writing, and it feels very fall to me, like with the crows. So I think I'll be waiting until the fall to read this. And it sounds like our main character is left this creepy old house. We'll just leave it at that. All right. I also picked up a Colleen Hoover book. I have never read Colleen Hoover. I'm not necessarily intrigued by some of her more popular ones. This one I was, though. November 9, Fallon meets Ben, an aspiring novelist, the day before her scheduled cross-country move. And it says, over time, and amidst just kind of their life, they continue to meet on the same day every year, November 9th. I just think it sounds really good. I still have quite a few books to share with you guys. Okay, as for some books that were gifted to me, so this book, Tomorrow, Tomorrow, and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. I won a little giveaway through Gwen's Patreon. I'll link her down below. And this is her favorite book of all time. And we're reading it in book club this year for Patreon. And so I really want to read it. I believe it's about these 2 video game makers. It, again, is a story that's told over a lifetime, I believe. And their friendship, maybe relationship. I don't know much more than that. I want to just experience it. And then we also did like a Secret Santa exchange in Patreon, and Laura gifted me these, and so that's Stephen King's 11/22/63. I'm so curious about this book. It's so big, and it's like Stephen King's writing, right? Which I am experienced with, but I don't normally gravitate to because he's so very wordy. But I have heard amazing things about this book, as well as this book, Adrift by Lisa Badu. I think I say that different every time. This is another book that's part of the reading challenge for the year. I think we're going to read it sometime in the summer. So I'm really excited about this. One of you actually recommended it to me after I was talking about Stuart Turton and said that this kind of reminded of The Last Murder at the End of the World. It's about this woman who wakes up in a boat in the Pacific Northwest, and she doesn't remember anything. She just has this like ominous note that's like, don't tell anybody. And then I got this book for Christmas. So We Solve Murders by Richard Osman. I'm so excited. We have just been reading and finished up the Thursday Murder Club, actually just the first 4, because I realized there's a 5th book coming out now. But this was his latest 2024 release. I don't even know what it's about. I just know that I really like his writing style, and I've heard that his style of writing is similar in this book. It just doesn't have the retirees who I really love. I think it's a father-daughter sort of combo. All right, we are getting there. I picked up A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik because it's going to be a part of the reading challenge. I should stop saying that. But I've been curious about this whole series, the Scolomancy series. It's about a magic school, but I think there's like monsters and they have to survive school. So it sounds like there's some consequences in their learning. And so I have that book. And then I also picked up this one, Ashes of the Sun by Django Wexler. And I think this is about siblings who are on kind of like opposite sides of the empire, if you will, and magic and fantasy. And then I picked up the second book in the Bone Season series. I read The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon earlier this year, and I really enjoyed it. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting, but it's about our main character, Paige Mahoney, and she's a part of this syndicate of magic users in this world where magic is like hunted down by the government. So it's so good. All right, I picked up these two books, Blood and Honey and Gods and Monsters. I think this is 2 and 3. The series, the Serpent and the Dove series by Shelby Marin. I really enjoyed The Serpent and the Dove. It was really good. It was like witch hunter vibes, and it ended in such a way that was just really interesting. And so I rushed out. Well, I went to Pango and I picked up books 2 and 3 to finish all the series. Now I just have to pick them up. And then my sister also gifted me this, which I think is either a spin-off series to the original trilogy, but it's called The Scarlet Veil. And so yeah, it looks like it just kind of follows at least the male main character in there. And then I have this book, House of Marion by J.L. So this is a YA fantasy book. I believe it's about a girl who's on the run because she has magic and she shouldn't. Yep. So there's a death sentence for people who have magic, and she ends up at a school. So it's a magic school sort of setting. I think it sounds fun. Those are definitely buzzwords for me. And then, almost done here, but my sister also gifted me these books. The Winnowing Flame Trilogy by Jen Williams. And so I do have the paperback books of these and I haven't started them yet. So I'll probably throw those on Pango. But I've heard just really interesting things about this world. Like it's just a unique setting. Like it's kind of got some gross monster kind of setting maybe, or just a weird world. I really should look into it, but I've been wanting to read these for a while, so now I have some beautiful hardback copies of these books. All right, so the last books I'm going to share with you were my latest book of the month books. I picked up The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year by Allie Carter. It sounds fun. It's like a Christmas rom-com mystery romance sort of book. I don't know if I need to know more than that. I wanted to read it in December, but it came literally like a couple days before Christmas, so I haven't had a chance. Maybe I'll get to it here in the next couple days or January. I feel like I still read Christmas books in January. And then the other book I picked up was the new Alice Feeney book, Beautiful Ugly. I'm really looking forward to this book. I feel like it sounds just really interesting. It sounds like it's about this wife that I think goes missing and the husband that's like desperate to find her. But it's an Alice Feeney book, so it's not going to be that simple. And so I'm really looking forward to reading this next year. So anyway, that is it. That's so many books, and I promise not to wait this long before, because I feel like it's exhausting to watch this many books, but I am so excited for them all. So anyway, you guys, let me know your thoughts on any of these books. Have you read them? Are you also looking forward to them? All your thoughts, let me know. But if you don't have anything to say, let's leave a little Christmas tree emoji for this last one. I hope you all are well. I can't believe this is my last book haul of 2024. It should be my last book video of the year as well. So I hope you all are well. And I hope you're as excited as I am for 2025. So many possibilities. So exciting. But like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel if you want to, and I will see you. I'll see you in 2025.